So what do you say, Frank? You ready to get going?
Oh yeah.
All right. So we're going to do the feature, which is because everyone here who's in the book is a feature, and so we're going to take it in the order of the table of contents, so as not to miss anybody. And so I'll read names of some people who aren't here, just to make sure I don't miss anyone who is. Theta Pavas? Jim Klein. Let's have a round of applause for Jim Klein. Jim has a new book coming out this next year called The Dumb Have the Advantage, so look for that. In the meantime,
And we might be launching it.
we may launch it right here, yeah.
Thank you for a great night. I've been doing this for a long time, and I think this is the greatest night. And I'd like to really thank the Gang of Six, and especially these two. Because I used to run this thing and never aspired to these heights.
Well, as I said, that Jim ran a workshop from the first from day one for years and years and years up until Rutherford and Frank took over. So,
And Jim is the co-founder of the entire organization.
That is true.
That's not forgiven.
Well, I wanted to thank you also. This is Keith Richards' father on page 34. We saw the Keith Richards documentary on iTunes Friday night. He said he ran away at 17 and the road became his home. His parents divorced, and he lost contact with his father for 20 years when he was often in the headlines. Keith's father was an upstanding man, and he knew his father would be disappointed in him. But he wrote him a note and got a reply. Keith was so frightened about meeting his father, he took Ron Wood with him. His father turned out to be a little old man with bandy legs. After a few minutes, everything was smoothed out between them, and they were on friendly terms. Keith took his father with him on the next tour, and in his words, showed him the world. He kept showing his father the world for the next 20 years.
Thank you, Jim. Next up, we have Barbara O'Dare. Give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, everybody. I feel so honored to follow Jim Klein. He's a lion. Okay. Am I right, or am I just gorgeous? May I drop a few examples into the processor? The time he turned off without explanation, early ghosting, I believe, punishment for withholding. I was on the clock. A warm chemistry became an ugly minute that ended badly for me, or blankly. Do you think I was unfair? That I felt free and happy and we drank tequila all night and talked about art and then I slept in the guest room? He was famous and believed he was irresistible. So, oh, for sure, people become more disposable. Was it that? Another guy's parting words were tragic. I wasn't a good person, and his therapist told him he should stay away from me. And he did. Had I indicated? No, I had not. He had volunteered to help me alphabetize my albums, and I thought, what a great friend. I didn't think much of him being specifically a male friend. At least I didn't think of him with that in mind. Possibly I was oblivious to his horrible loneliness, which didn't dissuade him from making two assumptions that shot the whole thing to shit. That I was his for the asking, that I was his for the taking, that I manipulated him. You may want to say I was kind of dense in this area. Or no, how about you say that I was human, and also blind in this case to his frailty. But my guilt is not required. He must have thought he could will a liaison by throwing in a favor that wasn't asked for. These days, that's what's known as transactional. Another time, some dude drove me from LA up the Pacific Coast Highway. I left the idea that I share his motel room on the doorsill. No thanks. He was pissed the rest of the trip. I tried to keep it straight. Did I taunt? Did I indicate? The next day, he took me to a 5-star seafood place in San Francisco, and I ordered a tuna fish sandwich. He became incensed. Maybe I was vindictive too. Did I rise and stretch like a cat in his face? No, I did not. I really did not. I do think, however, that I am a wiseacre, to use an antediluvian term. Maybe now it would just be called obnoxious. Another thing I was not clued into. A reminder of how early my potential bad behavior was manifested. My 3rd grade music teacher told the class to quiet down. Once her back was turned, I yelled out, Mrs. Palmer does the shimmy in her pajamas. I don't know why. She whipped around, pointed at me, and hissed, I know it was you. I can see everything on your face. It's happened my whole life. I understand that we don't get to blurt out anything we want in public. It just pops out. I urge all to practice restraint, make different choices. 3. I knew the owner of my favorite record store in the village. We would banter whenever I stopped by, which was often, and it was not flirtatious. One day, and I wonder why, I said something about his mother, a silly joke maybe, but he freaked out and ordered me out of his store. He kept on pointing. I was shaken and confused. This has happened all my life. These things don't quite explain why my male friends sometimes disappear, when they feel spurned, when they are famous, when they feel mocked. So many misunderstandings. I wish I could say, I so cared for you, really. How could you have let me go?
Thank you, Barbara. Bridget Spruill's not here tonight, but she's a wonderful poet. Please read her poems.
Are we still reading for like some poems for other people? Or
Oh, are you reading for Bridget?
I did it for a couple of people who are not here.
Tell me who.
Okay.
Bridget?
Sorry for Bridget.
We're going to have Anton Yakovlev read for Bridget Spruills, who's not here.
Page 40. Swati and Sudhanshu's daughter, Radha. May Robins trust her on tranquil Tuesday mornings, whose tranquility is no dispensation. May her laugh carry others through the sky upside down, revealing orchards. May her speech clean wounds and her welcome fires crackle, and may she love herself prodigiously, her own summer sun and scattered showers. May her way and her timing align, realign, be friendly, until she cannot help but wonder at so many long ago dreams having tacitly arrived. When Radha falls in love, may that soul be her bower, preternaturally generous, forbearing and winsome. May she find and patch the leaks. May her questions twirl like petals from an ever-blooming tree, and may her parents live to see all this and smile into their teeth.
Thank you, Anton. And now, a stalwart member of the Red Wheelbarrow Workshop, I'd like to introduce you to Brendan McEntee. Brendan, come up and let us know.
Thank you all for coming. It was wonderful to hear everybody. Thank you, Gang of Six. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm on page 45, and I wrote this because I really want to sound like Robert Shaw from Jaws, but I sound like this. Never save a drowning man. I finally learned the lesson after too many seasons. Never save the drowning man who returns to the waves. Never save the burning woman who returns to the wildfire. And by save, I mean try to save. And by try to, I mean fail. Flailing under the ocean, breathing in their ash. Now I watch the horizon, his hand disappears. Now I watch her swirl to the sky. Thank you.
So, I'm next, but I'm not going to read you a poem. And I'm not going to read you my prose piece, but there's a prose piece in the back called, I think, Chris Christopherson's Sunday Morning Coming Down is a great song, and it has a great lyric. That's a little analysis that I did of that song. So I figured I'd play it for you. Because what happened was I listened to it and I said to myself, those lyrics are just awesome. And then John Dull read last month at the monthly reading, and it was just such a great change of pace from all the words. Can you hear me in the cheap seats?
Yeah.
Well, I woke up Sunday morning with no way to hold my hair that didn't hurt. It's hard to sing in front of people.
We got this.
Well, I woke up Sunday morning with no way to hold my head that didn't hurt. And the beer I had for breakfast wasn't bad, so I had another for dessert. I fumbled through my closet for my clothes and found my cleanest dirty shirt. And I washed my face and brushed my hair and stumbled down the stairs to meet the day. Well, I'd smoked my brains the night before on cigarettes and songs I'd been picking. But I lit my first and watched a small kid cussing at the can that he'd been kicking. Then I crossed the empty street and caught the Sunday smell of someone frying chicken. And it took me back to something I lost somehow, somewhere along the way. On the Sunday morning sidewalk,
wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. Something about a Sunday makes a body feel alone. And there's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the summer Sunday morning coming down. In the park I saw a daddy with a laughing little girl that he was swinging. And I stopped beside a Sunday school and listened to the songs that they were singing. Then I headed back for home, and somewhere far away a lonesome bell was ringing. And it echoed through the canyons like the disappearing dreams of yesterday. On the Sunday morning sidewalk, wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. Something about a Sunday make a body feel alone. There's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the sleeping city sidewalks, Sunday morning coming down. On the Sunday morning sidewalk, wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. There's something about a Sunday make a body feel alone. And there's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the sleeping city sidewalk, Sunday morning coming down. Wow, 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 wow. Coming down.
Now back to my role as ticket taker. Barbara O'Dear, Bridget Sprules, Preeti Shah, Brendan McEntee, Arthur Russell. Zarita's not here. Is anyone going to read a poem for Zarita?
I'll do it.
Okay, great. Okay. This is Frank Rubino reading for Zarita Mohammed. Give him a round of applause. He worked hard.
Fearful of blood, he selects me. After market on Sunday, my father tucks the chicken feet under his own and begins to pray, Bismillah, and cuts the chicken neck in halal. Water must be offered during the sacrifice, and since I am afraid of blood, he selects me. I take aim, shut my eyes tight, and begin to pour. The chicken resists, and the cutting moves. I keep pouring in the same spot until he elbows and admonishes me to open my eye. I take aim again and pour from the periphery.
And now, reading for Sal Roseo, we have Sal Roseo. Give him a round of applause.
right, so my friend John Traus is going to assist with lending a co-conspirator voice to this one. This poem was written, I guess, before the pandemic, not too soon before, but before it hit our world, right? But it stems from years of observing my children on frantic mornings. So this is called The Glass Tipped Over.
It's on page 52.
Oh, page 52. The glass tipped over and time stood still for an unmeasured moment. Lying cylindrical on its side, it simulates the form of a tree log parallel with the ground. The liquid splash pattern rooting from its opening, a reflection resembling silhouettes of sun-backed branches. In that instant, it looked like it belonged there on the tabletop, tranquil in its audible silence, expecting the inevitable covering of moss to absorb its dissected light, tethering it to time, a static snapshot for a still life.
Of course, the view from outside was quick and frantic, reactive, and sure, the things outside hemmed and hawed, but inside, the pause, there was calm and carefree.
Then and there, in the slow motion transition from stopped time to the fast forward reeling of real time,
the experience and unborn remembrance, rewinding.
Instinct has me pick it upright anyway, wipe dry the glass bottom and place it beyond the now pooling cohesion of juice, the liquid predictably spreading and spilling, drip, drip, dripping down from along the edge of the table, a hypnotic metronome of beads of liquid droplets descending into minuscule impacts of small radius splashing carousels, throwing outward a circular symmetry of splatter effect, filling the lines and the cracks in the floor, veins mapping outward like all those school bus routes branching out from schoolyard to road, marking the many stops and ways home after school. And then, in dizzying suddenness, like the stroke of 100 clanging school bells, their tolling ring warning of the imminent lateness buzzing in hallways before class, the strike of looming realization across all the hurried faces.
No time for breakfast or banter.
Bring a snack to the bus stop.
Hastily, one shoe unevenly tied.
No time for the other, laces loosely dangle.
Backpack half slung, zipper open.
Slip in the lunchbox and the homework folder.
Then ushered out the door.
Not as neat as nimbly,
but just as quick.
A short eye scan as the door closing fast behind, knowing there is no turning back or risk missing the bus. Looking back to catch a last glimpse, bemused, the poured glass still on the table, barely sipped, never tipped, and never spilled. Thank you.
Carol Stone, who is next in the book, is not here tonight, but I wanted to alert you all to the fact that Carol Stone just had her collection accepted by Kelsey Books, and it'll be coming out next year. Kevin Carey Books, excuse me. Yeah. And after Carol Stone comes Jennifer Poteet, and Jennifer's not here tonight either, and neither is Susanna Lee, and neither is Leah DiStefano, nor is Amy Barone, and Rick Mullen is not here as well. Austin Alexis is not here, but Claudia Soraya is here, and she's next. So please give her a warm welcome.
So I want to read a poem I wrote because of the war in Ukraine. For the ones who don't know, I was born and raised in Romania. And when the war started and the first images started to come through, I was shocked at the fact that a lot of the things that I was seeing, I could recognize them from my past and from the landscape in Romania, which is very similar to the one I was seeing on TV. So this poem is called, on BBC News, The Places Where I've Never Been. I recognize that road, a tongue of asphalt edged with crooked poplars, twisting for no apparent reason between two villages. I recognize that village where my mother-in-law could live, and its old women wearing house dresses and flowered headkerchiefs. Each house has a few chickens scratching the yard, and a small garden where women grow cabbage and potatoes. I recognize the eyes on the potatoes. I've seen them open in the earth. I recognize that apartment block, a sprawling socialist concrete structure stretching along a boulevard named Victory or Independence, filled with little cement boxes, and in each box a family like ours, the furniture of my parents' youth, covered in crochet doilies, and an old Russian TV. I know by heart the ballerina bibelots, the colored blown glass fish, and the ubiquitous vitrina, the cabinet holding a bottle of Shivas, and liquor glasses we use only on rare occasions. I know the balconies, the playground, and the cars, even though I've never been to those cities. Bombed cities that could be my hometown, streets that look exactly like the one of my childhood, strewn with bodies, where only limping, three-legged dogs still live, and the dead open their eyes in the earth.
I want to welcome next the former editor-in-chief of the Red Wheelbarrow Journal for, I think, issues 1 through, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, 12 or 13. It's Mark Fogarty. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, and I want to congratulate the editors of this fine book. As Arthur mentioned, I do know what goes into putting out a book like this, and it's an awful lot of work and a lot of passion, really, a lot of effort. And I especially want to single out Frank, a beautiful cover, really beautiful.
Thank you, Mark.
This is page 71, and it's called White Bird. I hear the sound of amplified violin strings being struck in my head. Not as unpleasant as the rings from ad jingles. White bird in a golden cage on a winter's day in the rain. A man and a woman sing together. They love each other, I infer. It was a new thing for me then, to hear an electric violin. The leaves blow across the long black road to the darkened sky in its rage. Haunted by music, not a bad destiny. To come to a far-off Eastern modality, to a life full of strange hope and off-kilter load, along the Silk Road, the great Royal Road. White bird dreams of the aspen trees, with their dying leaves turning gold. I have had, I'm sure, too few voices speak to me in my life, my own choice. I cannot imagine marrying anyone whose voice is not like a song. White bird must fly, or she will die. They say the song plays on because the mind wants an end. A white bird must fly, or she will die. The world is whispering to me, and I strain to see its lips. What have I been thinking about? Of traps and dams, and a winter symphony, and of Sir Philip Sidney, who died so young. The sunsets come, the sunsets go, the clouds roll by, and the earth turns old. So many billion years before me, so many billion years remain. And in the seconds that we have in between, the breath that falls to rise, this is paradise. Thank you. The interpolations are from White Bird by David LaFlame and Linda LaFlame. Anybody my age will remember them from a wonderful old hippie band called It's a Beautiful Day. So just to repeat the last line, since I'm inspired tonight, this is paradise. Good night, everybody.